Commander Zethkara stood on the bridge of his massive warship. The metal floor beneath his feet hummed with power. Through the wide windows, he could see a small blue and green planet turning slowly in the darkness of space. The humans called. This world, Earth. The alien commander was tall and thin. His skin was gray like stone, and his eyes were large and black. He had fought in many wars across the galaxy. He had seen 47 different worlds surrender to his empire. This would be the 48th. "Sir, we are in position," said his second officer. The younger alien's voice was calm and confident. Zethkara nodded. His fleet of 300 ships surrounded the human planet. Each ship was bigger than the largest human building. Their weapons could turn entire cities into dust in seconds. Their shields could stop any attack the humans might try. "Send the message," he ordered. The communication beam shot down to Earth. The message was simple and clear. The humans had 6 hours to surrender completely. If they refused, every human city would be destroyed. Every human would die. Far below on Earth, Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command center. He was a strong man with short brown hair and tired eyes. He had been awake for 36 hours, ever since the alien ships first appeared in the sky. Alien message appeared on his screen. Jake read it 3 times. Around him, other officers and scientists stared at their computers. No one spoke for a long minute. "Sir, what do we tell them?" asked Lieutenant Carol Davis. She was young and scared, but trying not to show it. Jake looked at the numbers on his screen. 300 alien ships. Earth had maybe 50 ships that could fight in space. The aliens had energy weapons and force fields. Earth had nuclear missiles and hope. "Tell the president," Jake said. "Let her decide." At the same time, Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster was deep underground in a military bunker. The bunker was built inside a mountain in Colorado. It was meant to survive nuclear war. Amy hoped it could survive whatever the aliens might do. She watched. The emergency meeting on her screen. Leaders from every country on Earth were talking at once. Some wanted to surrender. Others wanted to fight. A few wanted to try talking to the aliens. Amy had studied the alien ships for hours. Their technology was hundreds of years ahead of anything humans had. But she had learned something important in her 20 years as a soldier. Sometimes the side with better weapons still lost. President Helen Carter sat at the head of the table. She was an older woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had led her country through many hard times, but nothing like this. "General Brown, what are our chances if we fight?" she asked. General Brown was an honest man. "Very low, Madam President. Maybe 1 in 1,000. And if we surrender, they might let some humans live as slaves. Or they might kill us all anyway, we don't know." President Carter was quiet for a moment. She thought about her children and grandchildren. She thought about every human who had ever lived and died on Earth. She thought about what it meant to be human. "We don't surrender," she said finally. "Send that message to the aliens." Back on his ship, Zethkara received Earth's answer. He read it twice, then looked at his officers. They seemed surprised too. They refused to surrender. Asked. His second officer, "Yes," Zethkara said. "Yes. They choose to fight." The alien commander felt confused. In 47 other wars, the enemy had surrendered quickly. Most species were smart enough to know when they were beaten. These humans must be very stupid or very dangerous. On Earth, Captain Ben Rodriguez was getting ready for the first battle. He commanded 12 small fighter ships. They were fast but lightly armed. His mission was to attack a group of alien patrol ships near Earth's moon. Ben knew it was probably a suicide mission. His ships would likely all be destroyed. But they might learn something useful about alien weapons and shields. That information could help Earth's larger ships fight better. "All pilots, this is Ben," he said into his radio. "Remember, we're not trying to win this fight. We're trying to learn. Get as much data as you can before they shoot you down." "Copy that, sir," came 12 voices. Ben's fighters launched from the space station orbiting Earth. They flew toward the moon as fast as they could. The alien patrol ships saw them coming and moved to attack. The first alien weapon blast destroyed 2 human fighters instantly. The energy beam was brighter than the sun. It cut through metal like paper. "Holy cow," whispered pilot Jerry Stone. "Did you see that?" "Keep recording," Ben ordered. "Send everything back to Earth." More alien ships joined the fight. The human fighters dodged and weaved, but they were too slow. One by one, they were shot down. Biked. Each ship sent data back to Earth before it died. Dr. Lisa Wong sat in her laboratory. On Earth, watching the data come in, she was a small woman with black hair and very smart eyes. She studied the alien weapon patterns and shield frequencies. "There," she said suddenly. "The shields flicker every 2.3 seconds. For just a tiny moment, they're weak." It wasn't much, but it was something. In space, Ben Rodriguez was the last pilot alive. His ship was damaged and leaking air. 3 alien ships surrounded him. He could surrender or he could do something else. Ben pointed his ship at the nearest alien vessel and pushed his engines to maximum power. His fighter crashed into the alien ship's hull. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire. Zethkara watched the explosion from his command bridge. Felt something strange, not anger or satisfaction, something else, something that made his stomach feel cold. "Sir, the human ships are all destroyed," reported his weapons officer. "Yes," Zethkara said slowly. "But the last one didn't try to escape. It attacked us even when it couldn't win." "Humans are just very stupid, sir." But Zethkara wasn't sure. He had fought stupid enemies before. They ran away when they were losing. They surrendered when they were surrounded. They didn't crash their ships into his fleet. These humans were different. They fought like animals, protecting their young. No, that wasn't right either. Animals ran when they couldn't win. Humans fought when they couldn't win. That night, Zeth stood alone on his bridge, looking down at Earth. The planet looked peaceful and beautiful. But somewhere down there, millions of humans were getting ready to fight his empire. They knew they would probably lose. They were going to fight anyway, for the first time in his long military career, Commander Zethkara felt a small chill of fear. The war began 3 days after Earth refused to surrender. Alien ships dropped from the sky like falling stars. They attacked military bases, cities, and anything that looked important. The humans fought back with everything they had. Dr. Lisa Wong worked day and night in her underground laboratory. She had found the weakness in alien shields during the first battle. Now she had to figure out how to use it. The shield gap lasted only a fraction of a second. Human weapons would need perfect timing to get through. "We need computers to control the timing," she told General Brown over the video link. "Human reflexes are too slow." "How long will it take?" the general asked. 2 weeks? Maybe 3? "We might not have 3 weeks." Lisa looked at her, tired. "Team of scientists? Then we work faster." Captain Ben Rodriguez was dead, but his sacrifice had given Earth valuable information. Now other pilots studied his final attack. They learned that crashing into alien ships could damage them badly. It was a terrible way to fight, but it worked. Colonel Steve Adams commanded what was left of Earth's Pacific Fleet. 12 ships against an alien invasion force. His sailors knew the odds. They fought anyway. Alien cruisers approaching from the west called out Lieutenant Tom Harris from the radar station. Steve watched the enemy ships on a screen. 6 alien vessels, each one bigger than his flagship. Their weapons could sink his entire fleet in minutes. "All ships prepare for ramming speed," Steve ordered. His officers looked at him with wide eyes. Ramming was suicide. But it was also the only weapon that seemed to hurt the aliens. "Sir, are you sure?" asked Commander Jane Miller. Steve thought about his daughter back home. She was only 8 years old, I'm sure. If we're going to die, we make it count. The human ships charged at the alien fleet. The aliens fired their energy weapons. 2 human ships exploded instantly. But the others kept coming. The USS Dakota crashed into an alien cruiser at full speed. Both ships went down in a ball of fire and metal. The USS Oregon rammed another alien ship. The impact tore both vessels apart. Steve's flagship, the USS Liberty, aimed for the largest alien ship. Alien weapons tore holes in his hull. Water poured into the lower decks. but his engines still worked. For Earth. Steve shouted as his ship smashed into the alien vessel. The explosion could be seen from shore. When the fire cleared, 4 alien ships were sinking. Only 2 human ships survived, but they had one. Zethkara received the battle report with growing confusion. His ships had superior weapons and shields. They should have destroyed the human fleet easily. Instead, he had lost 4 cruisers. Did this happen? He asked his tactical officer. The humans used ramming attacks, sir. They crashed their ships into ours. That's suicide. Yes, sir. But it worked. Duh. Zethkara studied the battle data. In his long career, he had never seen anything like this. Other species fought to live. Humans seemed to fight to make sure their enemies died. On Earth, General Maria Santos was preparing for the ground invasion. The aliens would land troops soon. When they did, every human city would become a battlefield. Maria had been a soldier. For 30 years, she had fought in wars around the world. But defending Earth was different. This time, it wasn't about politics or resources. It was about survival. "Ma'am, we have reports of alien landing ships approaching major cities," said Major Frank Lee. "How many?" "Over 100. They're hitting New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow, and a dozen other cities." Maria nodded. She had expected this. "Give the order." Operation Last Stand begins now. Across Earth, military units and civilian volunteers took their positions. Factory workers grabbed hunting rifles. Teachers and doctors put on army helmets. Grandparents who had fought in old wars picked up weapons again. In Detroit, Major Katie Bell led her soldiers through the ruined streets. The aliens had bombed the city heavily, but people still lived in the wreckage. They had turned the rubble into a fortress. "Remember, we know this ground," Katie told her troops. "The aliens don't. Use that?" Her soldiers were a mix of regular army, National Guard, and volunteers. There was Bob Miller, a car mechanic, who knew every tunnel under the city. There was Linda Garcia, a nurse who had learned to shoot last week. There was old Pete Johnson, who had fought in 3 wars and wasn't about to stop now. The alien dropships landed in the city center. Tall gray soldiers with strange weapons stepped out. They moved in perfect formation, expecting the humans to run away. Instead, the humans disappeared. Katie had learned from studying alien tactics. The aliens expected direct attacks. They were prepared for human armies to charge at them, were not prepared for guerrilla warfare. The first alien patrol walked down Main Street. They saw no humans anywhere. The city seemed empty. Then Bob Miller triggered the explosives under the street. The explosion knocked down 6 aliens. Before they could react, Linda Garcia and her team opened fire from hidden positions. The aliens tried to return fire, but the humans were already gone, moving through tunnels and sewers. "Hit and run," Katie said into her radio. "Don't let them pin you down." For hours, the battle raged through Detroit. The aliens had better weapons, but the humans knew every building, every alley, every hiding place. When aliens entered a building, humans attacked from behind. When aliens tried to regroup, explosives went off under their feet. Pete Johnson led a team of old veterans. They moved slowly, but they moved smart. They had fought enemies with better weapons before. "In my day, we called this making them bleed for every inch," Pete told his team. The old man was right. The aliens were winning, but each block cost them dearly. They had expected to conquer Detroit in hours. Instead, they were still fighting when the sun went down. Similar battles happened in cities across Earth. Humans fought from rooftops, basements, and subway tunnels. They used every trick they could think of. Some worked, some didn't. But they never stopped trying. Zethkara read the reports from the ground battles. His troops were advancing, but slowly, much more slowly than planned. And the casualty reports worried him. "Sir, we've lost 300 soldiers today," his aide reported. "How many humans?" "Unknown, sir. They keep fighting even when wounded. Our troops report that some humans detonate explosives rather than surrender." Zethkara felt that cold feeling in his stomach again. He had conquered many worlds. Usually, the local population gave up once their military was defeated. These humans seemed to think every civilian was a soldier. Sir, there's something else. The aide continued. We've intercepted human communications. They're not just fighting for their cities. They're fighting for something they call their children's future. The alien commander didn't understand. Most species fought for territory or resources. What was special about children's futures? That night, Zethkara stood on his bridge again, looking down at Earth. The planet was covered with fires from the battles, but the humans were still fighting. After losing thousands of soldiers and civilians, they were still fighting. What kind of species fought harder when they were losing? 2 weeks into the war, Dr. Lisa Wong finally finished her work. She had built a computer system that could time human weapons to hit alien shields at their weakest moment. It was humanity's first real chance to fight back effectively. Captain? Roy Mitchell commanded the submarine USS Shark. His boat was hidden deep under the Pacific Ocean. The aliens had not found it yet. Atiro had volunteered for the first test of Lisa's new weapon system. Are you sure this will work? Asked his weapons. Officer Lieutenant Dan Cooper. Dr. Wong says it will, Roy replied. That's good enough for me. The submarine moved quietly toward a group of alien ships floating above the ocean. Roy's crew had modified their torpedoes with the new timing system. If it worked, they could punch through alien shields. If it didn't work, they would all die. Target acquired, Don reported. 3 alien cruisers ranged 2 miles. Roy took a deep breath. Fire torpedoes. 4 torpedoes shot through the water toward the alien ships. The timing computers calculated the exact moment when the shields would be weak. The torpedoes hit at that precise instant. All 4 torpedoes went through the shields and struck the alien holes. 3 massive explosions lit up the sky. When the smoke cleared, all 3 alien ships were sinking. It worked, Don shouted. The shields are down. Roy smiled for the first time in weeks. Send the message to all human forces. It can hurt them. Now, the news spread quickly through Earth's remaining military units. For the first time since the war started, humans had a real weapon against the aliens. But they still faced terrible odds. Major Katie Bell was still fighting in Detroit. Her forces had been pushed back to the old factory district. Half her soldiers were dead or wounded. They had learned something important about the aliens. They always attack the same way, she told her remaining troops. They form up in groups and advance in straight lines. They don't expect us to be creative. Katie had studied every alien ground battle. The aliens were disciplined and well-trained. But they followed the same tactics every time. That made them predictable. Tonight we try something new, she said. We attack them. Her soldiers looked surprised. For 2 weeks they had been hiding and running. Now their commander wanted to attack an enemy with superior weapons and numbers. Bob Miller, the mechanic, raised his hand. Ma'am, how do we attack ships that can fly? Katie smiled. We bring them down to our level. That night, Katie's team moved through the tunnels under Detroit. They carried explosives and determination. Their target was the alien command post in the city center. Linda Garcia had become an expert at moving unseen through the ruins. She led a small team to plant charges under the alien landing pad. Pete Johnson and his veterans created a distraction. On the other side of the city, when the explosives went off, the alien landing pad collapsed. 3 alien aircraft crashed to the ground. Suddenly, the aliens had to fight on foot like everyone else. Katie's soldiers poured out of the tunnels and sewers. They attacked the confused aliens from all directions. The battle was fierce and bloody. Many humans died. But when the sun came up, the aliens were retreating. We did it, Bob said, looking at the destroyed alien base. We actually won. Won. Battle, Katie replied. But it's a start. Similar victories were happening around the world. In London, Commander Paul Hayes discovered something that changed everything. His team had been searching through the wreckage of a crashed alien ship. When they found the alien computer files, Paul couldn't read the alien language, but the pictures told a horrible story. The files showed dozens of other planets. Each one had been home to a different intelligent species. Now, they were all empty. They don't just conquer. Paul said to his team. They exterminate every single intelligent species they find. Discovery was sent to every human military unit on Earth. The message was clear. This wasn't a war for freedom. It was a war for survival. If humans lost, there would be no humans left anywhere in the universe. The news changed everything. Soldiers, who had been ready to give up, found new strength. Civilians who had been hiding came out to fight. Old people and young people, rich and poor, everyone understood what was at stake. Flight Lieutenant Emma Clark led the attack on the alien orbital platform. Her squadron consisted of 20 fighters, all that remained of Earth's Air Force. Their mission was to destroy the platform that controlled alien operations on Earth. Remember, this is a one-way trip, Emma told her pilots. The platform's shields are too strong for our new weapons. We have to get inside and blow it up from within. Every pilot in her squadron volunteered. They knew they wouldn't come back. They also knew that destroying the platform might give Earth a real chance to win. The human fighters approached the massive alien station. It was bigger than most cities, covered in weapons and shields. As soon as the humans got close, alien fighters attacked them. The battle in space was brutal. Human pilots flew their planes into alien fighters, using their ships as weapons. One by one, the human fighters were destroyed. But they fought their way closer to the station. Emma was one of the last pilots alive when they reached the platform. Her fighter was damaged and leaking fuel. She could see the opening they needed to reach, a small gap in the station's defenses. For Earth, she said into her radio. For our children, it's for every species they've murdered. Emma flew her fighter straight into the gap. Her plane crashed deep inside the alien station and exploded. The explosion triggered a chain reaction that tore the platform apart. From his flagship, Zethkara watched his orbital platform burn and break apart. He felt something he had never experienced before in battle. Real fear, not fear of losing, but fear of what his enemies were becoming. Sir, we've lost contact with the platform, his communications officer reported. I can see that, Zethkara replied. How many human fighters attacked it? 20, sir. And how many survived? None, sir. They all died in the attack. Zethkara stood in silence for a long moment. 20 humans had destroyed a station that housed 5,000 aliens. They had done it knowing they would all die. Sir, should we call for reinforcements? Asked his second officer. Zethkara looked down at Earth. The planet was still burning from weeks of battle, but the humans were not surrendering. If anything, they were fighting harder than ever. Yes, he said finally. Call for reinforcements. Tell them to bring everything they have. For the first time in his career, Commander Zethkara was not sure he could win this war. These humans fought like demons, protecting their souls. They seemed to become more dangerous the more desperate they became. What kind of species grew stronger when faced with extinction? The final battle for Earth began at dawn on the 40th day of war. Admiral Jack Turner commanded what remained of humanity's space fleet. He had 37 ships of all kinds. Some were military vessels. Others were converted cargo ships. And passenger liners? Few were experimental craft that had never been tested in battle. The alien reinforcements had arrived 3 days earlier. Zethkara now commanded over 500 ships. Each one was a masterpiece of alien technology. His fleet could destroy planets. But Jack Turner was not intimidated. His ships carried Dr. Lisa Wong's new weapons. More importantly, they carried crews who had nothing left to lose. All ships. This is Admiral Turner, he said into his radio. Today, we end this war. We either save Earth, or we make sure these aliens never forget what it costs to threaten human children. On the bridge of the converted cruise ship Morning Star, Captain Ruth Davis listened to the Admiral's words. Her ship used to carry tourists on vacation trips. Now it carried missiles and desperate hope. Her crew included retired sailors, fishing boat captains, and anyone who knew how to work on a ship. Ma'am, alien fleet approaching, called out her navigator, a young woman named Kelly Jones, who had been studying to be a teacher before the war. Ruth looked at her screens. The alien ships moved in perfect formation. They looked beautiful and deadly. Well, Kelly, what do you think? Kelly was scared but determined. I think we show them what humans are made of. The two fleets met in Earth's upper atmosphere. The aliens fired first. Their energy weapons lit up the sky like deadly lightning. The human ship Liberty was destroyed instantly. The cargo vessel New Hope exploded seconds later, but the human ships kept coming. They used their new weapons to punch holes in alien shields. They flew in wild patterns that confused alien gunners. Most importantly, they fought with a fury that amazed both sides. The cruise ship Morningstar rammed an alien battleship. The impact destroyed both vessels, but Ruth Davis smiled as her ship died. She had taken a battleship with a pleasure boat. The battle raged for 18 hours. Ships burned and exploded on both sides. But slowly, impossibly, the humans began. To win, their tactics were unpredictable. Their weapons were improving. Their determination was absolute. On the ground, the final assault on alien positions had begun. Sergeant Nick Parker led a mixed group of soldiers and civilians toward the main alien command center. His team included everyone from professional soldiers to school teachers who had learned to fight. With him was Mary Thompson, a grandmother who had joined the fight after aliens destroyed her town. There was also Tim Rodriguez, a teenager who had lost his parents in the first alien attack. They moved through the burning city like ghosts, using every trick they had learned in 40 days of war. The alien command center was heavily defended. Energy weapons and force fields protected it. Alien soldiers in advanced armor patrolled the area. It looked impossible to attack. "How do we get through all that?" asked Tim. Nick studied the defenses. "We don't go through, we go under." The sewers and subway tunnels had become highways for human fighters. Nick's team moved through the underground passages, carrying explosives and weapons salvaged from destroyed alien equipment. They planted charges under the command center's foundation. When the explosives went off, the entire building shook. Alien defenses collapsed. Human fighters poured through the gaps. The battle inside the command center was brutal. Aliens and humans fought room by room, floor by floor. Both sides knew this was the final fight. There would be no surrender, no retreat. Mary Thompson fought with a rifle in one hand and a grenade in the other. She had never been a soldier, but she fought like one. When an alien soldier shot her in the leg, she kept fighting. When another alien knocked her down, she got back up. "This is for my grandchildren," she said, shooting an alien who was trying to escape. Tim Rodriguez moved through the building like he was born for war. He was only 17, but the war had made him older. He had learned that sometimes children had to fight for their future. Deep in the command center, Zethkara found himself trapped. His guards were dead. His ships were losing the battle above. Human soldiers were fighting their way toward his position. The alien commander could hear them coming. They moved through his stronghold like a force of nature. They overcame every defense, defeated every trap. They seemed unstoppable. The first human to reach him was Captain Susan Gray. Her uniform was torn and bloody. Her face was covered in dirt and smoke. She carried an old rifle that looked primitive compared to alien weapons, but her eyes held something that made Zethkara step backward. Behind her came more humans. Soldiers and civilians, young and old, all bearing the same expression. They had lost everything, but they had not lost their purpose. "You came to our world," Susan said quietly. Her voice was calm, but filled with promise. "You threatened our children. You tried to make us extinct." Zethkara tried to speak. He wanted to explain that the Veilthan Empire was just following its nature. He wanted to offer terms, to negotiate, to find some way to survive. But the words died in his throat as he looked at the humans surrounding him. They had fought through impossible odds to reach him. They had sacrificed everything to get to this moment. "We found your records," Susan continued. "We know what you did to the other species. 47 worlds. Billions of intelligent beings. All dead because you decided they were threats?" The alien commander finally understood what the other species had faced. It wasn't just humanity's weapons or tactics that made them dangerous. It was their absolute refusal to accept extinction. "We could have surrendered," Susan said. "Could have begged for mercy. But we learned something about you. You don't show mercy. You don't let other species live. So we decided to show you what happens when you threaten something that will. Never give up. In his final moments, Zethkara realized the true horror. Humanity didn't just defeat their enemies. They became something more terrifying than anything their enemies could imagine. They became a species that would never stop fighting. For what they believed in, the war ended not with humanity's surrender, but with the complete destruction of the alien fleet. The few alien ships that tried to escape were hunted down by human fighters who would accept nothing less than total victory. Years later, when the first human ships traveled to other worlds, they carried a simple message. Earth remembered the 47 species that had died before them. Humanity would make sure it never happened again. The galaxy had learned a lesson that would never be forgotten. There were some species that became more dangerous when threatened with extinction. Humanity was one of them, and they would never let anyone forget it.